Recording 3, 2, 1. Welcome to another episode of the Triple Threat Podcast. We are here at the end of Calgary Stampede. The city is live right now, and it's just two fresh guys here with fresh new haircuts here to deliver you to sports news while you're out there rodeoing. I'm Zafir Nagji. Beside me over here is the sharply cut MJ Jorge. Hold on. Give us a little preview of the side. Let's see that fade,
Nah,
MJ.
yo, chill.
Oh,
Chill.
listen, man.
Mm-hmm.
MJ is looking fresh out here. You got that sharp lineup just in time for the end of Stampede here. How are you feeling with the rodeo in the city here?
Good, man. I haven't gone to any of it at all, but obviously I know it's always like a great time here in Calgary. I was actually working it last year too, which was kind of like it was crazy. Kind of seemed like how crazy the concerts were and whatnot. Like it was overall when people are having fun, when people are listening to their favorite artists, I think it's always a great thing. And yeah, sometimes you forget that it's like 10 days. Like sometimes it's I look at okay, the first few days or this or that or whatnot, and then you start realizing, oh, hold on, it's like another week basically that gets added into it. So yeah, I'm hoping people have fun. I'm hoping people enjoy themselves. And yeah, normally during this time in the summer, Calgary is turned. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things to attend to, a lot of places to go to, and I'm glad people are able to explore that.
Dude, I live so close
Mm.
to the Stampede Park now, and just watching like the streets transform has been absolutely.
I
It's
know it was
loud
crazy.
until 3 in the morning out here. It's so live.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
But
I know
speaking
it's
of
been
live,
crazy.
I mean, MJ, so many great concerts were here as well. The Coke stage was turned up. I was at Ira Starr's concert last night.
Mm-hmm.
Her music is amazing. I mean, me and my friends were dancing late deep
Mm-hmm.
into the night. Um,
Yeah.
I went to the ASAP Rocky show a week ago. Big
Heard
shout
about
out
it.
ASAP Rocky.
Heard about it.
It
Yep.
was it was a movie
Mm-hmm.
of a night. We were super close to the front. I mean, he was right
Mm-hmm.
there. Like we were going bar for
Crazy.
bar. You know what I mean? Oh,
That's actually crazy. Was Rihanna there? Was she backstage?
hey, we didn't find out. I don't know if she kept it
Dang.
hidden. She might have been there.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Can't say if she
Well, I
was or
see.
wasn't. You know what I mean? No, it's been great, MJ. But
Mm.
if you want to see more great stuff and you're watching this podcast right now, you should definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you give us a follow there, as well as on our
Yes, sir.
Instagram at 3threatpod. No Noah Wilson in the building today because he didn't get a fresh
No.
haircut, so he doesn't qualify for this episode.
Busy man. He a busy man. He a busy man.
Listen, man, you got fresh cut over here. I'm short hair now. You know what I mean? Things are transforming. The league is transforming, MJ. These trades keep getting crazier.
They do. They do, man. It's a lot. It's just I didn't think the offseason would get the even after like when the we all anticipated the Giannis trade to happen, but the domino effects after it, that's what makes the NBA offseason sometimes great. It reminded me of like 2019, not because of like the names, but because it was like KD was signing to Brooklyn, and then I think LeBron. Was that the summer?
I
I
think
think
that
that was
was
the
the
summer
LeBron
LeBron
Lakers
went to
summer, or like
LA.
somewhere around that
Yeah,
time. The Anthony Davis
LeBron went to
trade.
LA, right? The KD and Kyrie didn't want to go to the Knicks. They went to the Nets, and then this happened, and then that happened. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, insane all season, insane all season, man, crazy.
And like you would think that with the way that the CBA is structured now, it's very difficult to make big trades and big free agency signing options.
Yes,
We're not even getting Woj bombs, we're getting Shams bombs, and they're
yeah,
explosive news.
mm-hmm,
Last episode we were
mm-hmm,
talking about Giannis to the Heat, Melo to the
mm-hmm.
Wolves, Ja
To the
to the
Wolves,
Trailblazers, Kawhi to the
yeah,
Raptors.
mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so much going on in the world of basketball. But off the court, there's some big things that are happening right now at the Summer League, and it's not on the court. It's with the
Mm.
fists. Tyler
Yes,
Herro and Bam Adebayo. The rivalry you didn't know you needed.
mm-hmm.
Allegedly. Bam
Eh.
struck Tyler after finding
Mm-hmm.
out about Tyler's burner account posts.
That
Talking about
wasn't Burner. I think that was his actual account.
no. There's some burner tweets that are pretty bad too, MJ. I don't know
Oh,
if you've
Burner
seen it.
tweets. I did not know
Ooh.
that. I just know about
There's
the Instagram messages. That's
there's
it.
there's burner DMs and then there's official DMs and there's also burner tweets.
Oh, yikers, man. That's tough, man.
Stuff about how Bam and Giannis are the least efficient mid-range shooters in the NBA. talking
Huh?
about how
Oh, I didn't see that.
yeah,
Oh wow.
talking
Oh wow,
about
I didn't see
how the
that.
team was better with Tyler in and Bam out than Bam in and Tyler out.
Okay, I did hear that. I did hear that. Yeah.
The fact that he was targeted the most as the offensive player. No one ever worried about stopping
Yeah.
Bam. They only worried about stopping me. Listen, guys,
Yeah. I heard. Yeah. Somewhat. Somewhat.
if
Somewhat.
you're
Yeah. He
if
was.
you're listening to this and you don't know, go do some Googles. Do your Googles.
He was crazy. It was crazy, bro.
And
Crazy.
and hey, push came to shove. The heat was hot in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Bam smoked him.
It's so funny how both of them were unironically in Vegas. Both of them.
Yep.
Crazy.
And Bam
Crazy.
definitely
Crazy.
won the gamble over there. Listen, you make stupid decisions, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler Herro has never averaged 20 points per game in the playoffs. He's never averaged
Oh
20. You can go
yeah.
and look it up. You can go and look it up. I did some research
I was.
before getting on here.
I
He's a
think.
19 point per game scorer in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, he's basically 20. Basically, because I was
Yeah,
thinking
he's a
like
good second option.
2020 and 2022, especially 2022, especially, or no, 2020 especially, in the bubble and whatnot. I was like, that was good. Tyler Hero was healthy that year. I don't know if he was. I think he was healthy in 2020. I don't. Was he healthy? I know in 2023 he wasn't. He got hurt in the first round
Last two or
versus
three
the
years,
Bucks.
injuries have really plagued Tyler Herro for sure.
Yeah, I think 2022 was when he was also like. I think he was hooping that postseason if he was healthy. I gotta double check that in the future, but yeah, no, it's kind of just talking about it. I think there was like a clip surfacing online where I think they asked Tyler, I don't know which podcast he was in, but they asked Tyler, oh, out of all of your teammates, who would you want to back you in like a fight? And he said, Bam,
In a podcast, it
basically.
was just them together. They were potting together. I remember
Right.
that. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I was just kind of like, dang, bro. It's because I was seeing the screenshots. I will be honest, I think a lot of it was because when Jimmy got traded, there were like 15 to 19 shots that just opened up, basically. And I think Tyler kind of felt upset that he wasn't getting more of the responsibility offensively. I think that's really where his gripes are at, basically, because offense. And yeah, I just think overall, like I said, it was two guys that, one guy, like it's crazy. You talk about him like that when he's with you, and then behind closed doors or behind his back, you talk to him in like in a different way. Maybe maybe in a sense there was always like tension there between the both of them because you also have to think about the fact that the Miami Heat haven't legitimately made the playoffs since 2022.
No.
Like they made the playoffs I think as a 1 seed. Yes, they made the playoffs as a 1 seed. So the last few years has been a lot of playing or not making the playoffs
Yep.
basically. So it's been a lot of revolving door of just not consistently having the seasons that they had in 2022 in 2020. So yeah, it's I can understand Tyler's frustration and not being more involved in the offense, but at the end of the day, like I say, he's going to Milwaukee. There's
He's
going to
gonna have
be,
the ball now. I mean,
yeah, more opportunities to score.
yeah.
There's really no competition for, like I could say maybe Ryan Rollins will be probably the only other guy basically. But otherwise, the Bucks got a lot of young pieces, a lot of young players. There's a lot going on for them. So we'll see what type of role Tyler has.
One of the things that Tyler also said in these alleged burner DMs is that
Hmm.
the Heat are going to be at best a play-in team with Bam and Giannis, which I think is a really really crazy statement.
Is
Um,
that confirmed?
it's well, I saw it in Legend of Winning's video about it. Big shout out to that as well. Um,
Hmm.
the same DMs that are being referenced in a lot of these other stories that are coming out about this, it's in that
Hmm.
same lineup of pictures. So I'm gonna assume that it is Tyler. But I don't think the Bucks are going to be doing any better with Tyler Hero and Miles Turner as their big two moving forward.
No, no.
And I also think that the Heat's roster is largely unfinished yet. They still have a lot more work to do.
Yeah, yeah, they do. They do.
And so, what I wanted to ask you
Mm-hmm.
is, we talked a little bit about this move on our
Yes.
last episode. Now that we have
Hmm.
had a little bit of time to decompress from this, how far do you see this
Hmm.
team going, being led by Bam and Giannis, if they can put a little bit more of a more complete team around them. Not necessarily any star players, but just filling in the
Right.
gaps with some role players.
Okay, for the considering this is the first year,
Yes.
best case scenario conference finals. Best case scenario, assuming that Giannis and Bam are just able to just play out of their minds, along with the role, like basically them having a 2023 Heat run where they're just able to outshoot people every single series. But otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised if they get beat in the second round, just because it wouldn't be a failure against Giannis and Bam. It will literally be they don't have the team around them to go further in the playoffs. Like I believe right now, basically, even with no LeBron, right? Because we heard a lot of rumors of LeBron to Miami, but even with no LeBron and really no other upgrades to the roster right now, can they beat the Knicks? I don't
No.
think so.
No.
Whenever Hallie's back and he's healthy and he's rolling, can they beat the Pacers? I don't think so. Maybe it could be 50-50 because we have to see how Hallie is on the court, but I feel more comfortable with Indiana because they've had more cohesion with each other, right? Can they beat a Boston? Yeah, probably,
We'll
maybe,
get
who
into
knows?
why they
But
might be able to beat Boston later. I don't know about
right,
that, but
right, yeah. Can they beat Toronto? I don't think they can beat Toronto. Can
not
they
with
beat
Kawhi.
Philly? Right. If Kawhi, obviously, with Kawhi being there, can they beat Philly? Yeah, it's just like it's a lot of the teams that they're playing up against. It's either I'm giving them a decent chance or it's like it's a lower chance that I will be giving them because it has nothing to do with Giannis and Bam. It just has to do with the fact that they don't have the talent around them right now in order to drag them to a deep postseason run. So I'll say ceiling second round for me. I'll say second round for me, which considering that they flipped their roster upside down to get him, I think will be an okay ceiling. But obviously going into the second season, oh, we get the roster right, we get everything right. Finals or championship. Conference finals or championship at that point.
Yeah, I don't see this team going super duper far in the regular season for sure. I think Giannis is going to miss a few games just
Really?
because just because he's been recovering from injuries in the past, and I don't think regular season awards are necessarily his top priority anymore. I think
Yeah, not anymore.
he's
Yeah.
going to start fine-tuning himself to make sure that he's a good playoff performer. Um
Mm-hmm.
and I also think that it's going to take a little bit of time to develop the chemistry between these two
Yeah.
players. Like, let's
Yeah.
remember, Giannis has never played with a high level interior player like Bam Adebayo. And Bam Adebayo is, by all means, a like high level interior basketball player. Bam is a 83-point scorer in a single game. And even if the
Mm-hmm.
83 isn't the same as Kobe's 81, 83 is
Mm-hmm.
83.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, Bam's a supreme defender. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
even though they'll have their offensive flaws no matter who they put around them, their
Mm-hmm.
defensive proficiency is going to be incredible. And so I think when they get
Mm-hmm.
to the playoffs, I actually think this team is the perfect dark horse candidate for, big upsets.
Mm.
Crazy finishes to games where they just lock up a team, don't let them score for 5 minutes. Bam goes on a
Right.
run. Giannis helps them
Mm-hmm.
go on a run.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a lot of potential here, but it's going to
Mm-hmm.
take a lot for them to extract that potential, in my opinion, in terms of the kind of players that they need to surround them with. You need shooting, you need
Right.
ball handling, you need
Yes.
playmaking. Like,
Yes.
there's so
Yes.
many
You need
things that
yeah.
this team is still missing. It's hard to develop a
Yes.
picture, but there's so much potential here.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Which is why I think it's fair to temper our expectations for them in year one. I'm kind of looking forward to the 2027 offseason where they're able to, I think hopefully by that point they should have more money open up a little bit more, hopefully,
Hopefully.
to where they're able to make more moves. Like getting a point guard obviously is important right now. Obviously getting more shooting around them is going to be important as well. But defensively, they're going to win a lot of games
They might be
on the
the best
defensive end.
defensive team in the East. Like, just
Yeah,
based on
well,
pure.
I say Toronto. I kind of I
Yeah,
like
Toronto. No,
Toronto.
Toronto's up there too. Yeah, for sure.
I like Toronto.
But
But
I
yeah,
mean,
I
the one
agree.
advantage that Miami has over Toronto is obviously rim protection. Toronto doesn't have any
Rim Pro,
real
yeah,
rim
Rim Pro,
protection.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's an
I agree.
interesting
It's
move. It's an
crazy.
interesting move for Miami. I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely Team Bam on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Bam
Right.
Adebayo for
Yeah.
boxing Tyler Hero. Sometimes Guys, violence is not the answer, but sometimes violence is the answer, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh man, still crazy that actually. When Shams put that out, I was like, huh? It said Bam struck Tyler. I was like, huh? Wait, what happened to where it's like Bam had to? Because ideally, I don't think people know. We've never heard anything bad about Bam. Bam
No,
has never gotten in any legal trouble,
no.
like none of that. So it was even shocking to me,
Yeah.
basically, to even hear like a Bam report that isn't on the court, or isn't him scoring 83, or isn't him securing his contract. So that was
Yeah.
like shocking to me to hear something like that from him.
He's
Crazy.
he's been a he's been a relatively calm guy, doesn't get involved in a lot of altercations for sure, but he is a
No.
very skilled basketball player. And I, over the
Mm-hmm.
course of the last few years, watching
Mm-hmm.
and covering basketball, have grown to appreciate
Mm-hmm.
Bam's game more and more every year. Like you really
Yeah.
see the impact he makes on and off the stat sheet,
He gonna be shooting a lot of threes this year. Gonna be shooting a lot of
which
threes
I
this
think
year.
is
So
good for him. I think he's
yeah,
capable of doing it, and he can still
yeah,
attack the interior with effectiveness.
yeah.
Bam and Giannis are going to break every zone defense that Miami faces. The high-low plays that can come from this too, it's going to
Yeah.
be 90s basketball all over again.
Yeah. They just need shooting. They
That's
just
it.
need shooting. That's what's missing right now.
Um, let's move on to the other big story coming out of the NBA right now, and this one is
Oh
more
yeah.
on the court.
Mm-hmm.
The Boston Celtics are done being a good
Mm-hmm.
NBA franchise. They're done. They're done. They decided, you know what? You know what, Brad Stevens, you know what, Executive of the Year, I don't want that award anymore. You know, I'm going to let the
Oh
private
man.
equity guys who don't watch the games, I'm going to let them make the decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Jaylen Brown
Oh.
is no longer a Boston Celtic. Insert the boom sound
Mm-hmm.
effect somewhere, please, somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not only is he not a Boston Celtic anymore, he is traded before he turned 30.
When's it? Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Like, if you had told
Oh.
me 2 years ago Jaylen Brown is going to no longer be a Celtic before he turns 30, I wouldn't believe you. I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah. Yeah. True. Well. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, MJ, they won a championship 3 years ago.
I'm not gonna lie to you. There's been a lot of trade rumors with JB. A
But
lot.
like
This
none of
is
them really serious though, unless they were gonna go get
right.
Giannis or something, right? Like,
Right. That the only year where it wasn't serious was because they won the championship. But this felt that this one, it was just kind of like, dang, it's only a matter of time before we actually think that they're actually gonna trade him, which
it's
crazy.
crazy to
But yeah,
me.
get to the details, man.
Let's
What
get
what
into it.
what happened?
So apparently there was a slight fracture in the relationship between the Celtics front office and Jaylen Brown. No
Mm-hmm.
names named in particular here, but things were said
Mm-hmm.
about Jaylen Brown that I think were unbelievably disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Analytics departments called him the seventh best guy on most teams and not
Yeah,
a
which is
top
a lie.
50 player in the NBA.
Well, that's also a lie too.
Oh,
But
disgusting.
yeah.
Saying that the Celtics are better off without Jaylen Brown and just Jason Tatum than the two of them together.
Mm-hmm.
Also disgusting work. They said that he walked into every room feeling like he's the smartest guy in the room, which, yeah, I guess
Nothing really wrong with that. I mean, the guy went to Cal, gave a speech in
NASA wanted
Harvard.
him.
Yeah, I'm like, by the way, for people who don't know, they don't just let anybody just do speeches at Harvard. So it's that kind of lets you know the type of intelligence
I
the
believe
guy
he also
has.
teaches a class at MIT or teaches a class at
I
some
think he
esteemed
did.
university as
I
well.
think
He
he
did,
did.
yeah,
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 I
yeah,
think
yeah.
he did. Yeah.
Also, like as a businessman, has his own fashion line, is doing a bunch of other things off the
Yes.
court.
Yeah, he
Is
does. He
very
does.
very verbal and advocative about so many different causes, especially
Mm-hmm.
towards black people and like really standing up for African American people and all of that. They traded him away, and you would have thought, okay, you know what? If we're gonna give up on this guy, surely there's a big return coming here. There's some huge player that is coming back here. It's Paul George.
Mm-hmm.
It's Paul George on a $57 million year with
Mm-hmm.
another $57 million year coming up after.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
reason they
Yeah.
and the reason that they sided overall for making the trade
Mm-hmm.
is that they didn't want to tie up so much of their salary cap, 70% of their cap, in two players.
Yeah.
So you went and got a guy who cost the same amount who's now 36 years old.
Oh man.
Duh,
Yeah,
MJ, I'm
it's
trying to find something positive here. They also got two first round picks. Neither of them are going to be good.
yeah,
They're very far in the future.
yeah. Just there could they I there could be value with those picks, but it depends on I don't know what
They're
who are those picks
likely
from?
they're likely to be low picks, I think. Here, I'm just going to Google it out here. Let's see.
Because if it's 'cause I think they got a swap in there too, maybe. But
But tell me right
um
now, what do you think about the trade overall? Just give me your reaction when you first saw this pop up on your phone.
man, I was in shock, bro. I had to go and double check on my computer because I got the notification from Shams and I said, oh, breaking Paul Jaylen Brown is being traded to the Sixers. I was like, to who? The Sixers out of all teams, like mind you, that's their rival. That is their literal rival. So it was like, why are they trading with the with the division rival? Basically, it says
It's a
why are they
great
trading with the
question.
same team that just eliminated them in the first round in 7 games? Basically, and it was just confusing because Brad Stevens has always been someone that has been able to make the timely moves. He moved off of Marcus Smart when he needed to. He moved off of Robert Williams when he needed to. He moved off of certain players when he needed to, and then he was able to get Drew Holiday. He was able to get Al Horford. He was able to get Porzingis. Right, he was able to get obviously the Derek White trade was like like 4 years ago around that same time as well. Like he was just able to be very timely with all of his trades. So, and for most of it, he was able to benefit from them, obviously, because, excuse me, they were able to win a championship. And so then I see this trade, and then I'm like, what happened to the point to where it led to them doing this trade now? The timing feels very off because it's still the summer. You can leave this alone. You don't have to immediately get rid of it. And it was also reported that Sean said that Jaylen Brown never requested a trade. Jaylen Brown never once said, I want to leave Boston. He never once said it. He never,
Yeah,
obviously, was he outspoken about how great his past season was? Yeah, obviously, I understand, obviously, with the season that he had and whatnot. But it never led to him saying, oh, I want to leave Boston because we would have known basically if he put in a trade request or not, but he didn't. But even then, Brad Stevens just still felt that unease of not wanting to pay him. I think it was a 2 year, $145 million deal, Z. If you can double check that for me,
I
but
will
I
definitely
think he
double
was
check that.
eligible to get somewhere around that money, plus the supermax money that he's making already, plus Tatum's money. It was going to be like over 600 million that they would have to pay for both of those guys. And one of the things that Brad Stevens said was that he didn't want to take up 70% of the salary cap. So then
Yeah,
at that point, then I'm like, that makes sense in a lot of cases, not in this one because you have to try to justify to me why you think getting a Paul George right now who is in his late 30s,
yeah,
he still has a bad contract, right? And he's been a player that I think has only played around 78 to 79 games over the last 3 seasons compared to Jaylen Brown, who's coming off of another 65 plus game season. So Jaylen Brown has been readily available pretty much every single year of his career.
yeah,
He's always been a guy that's just been available and has been able to play the games versus a guy who hasn't been available. Paul George had a 25 game suspension for PEDs this past season.
yeah,
So I just like I look at this trade even now. I look at this trade and I'm still confused. I'm still trying to understand what made Brad Stevens want to do the trade now, and let alone what made him want to do the trade with Philly,
yeah.
basically out of all teams, because it's like
It's your I think in division rival, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken,
it's
too,
division
right?
rival. Yeah, it's a division rival. You just play them in the playoffs. Like
Yeah,
it just doesn't make sense. And I think even the most optimistic Celtics fan will still have to find
a
really
reason.
something to have hope for, basically. But even then, it's really difficult to kind of grasp. Obviously, I think Paul George does fit the system that they want because he's a guy that is able to create on the ball, off the ball. He can catch and shoot, right? Like
Yeah,
he actually fits the offense that they want. This would have been a great move 4 to 5 years ago. not now because obviously Paul George is older,
Yeah.
so it's now expecting him to play at least at a really not at a high level, but like at a moderately decent level. Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's just a lot to ask for because he's older,
Yeah.
and normally when you're older, it gets more difficult to expect him to consistently have great performances like that. It just is, and so yes, yeah, I kind of want to get your thoughts on it because I know you had a lot.
Listen,
I saw
man.
it in the group chat. I know you had a lot of thoughts regarding this.
So first of all, before I give my opinion, I do want to go over sort of like what was given up in this deal as well because we were talking about the picks, and
Mm-hmm.
I found the article here. I've got it up on the screen for our viewers here. So the 76ers received Jaylen Brown. The Celtics
Mm-hmm.
got Paul George, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the Sixers 2028 first round pick, which is
Mm-hmm.
not going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
2031 first round pick, which is based on
Mm-hmm.
probably the Tyrese Maxey Joel Embiid timeline, probably not going to be very good. A
Yeah.
2028 second round pick from either Golden State, OKC, or Milwaukee,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
And sorry, that was a 2028 second round pick, by the way, so it's not going to be good anyway. And a
All
2030
right.
second round pick from Washington,
Okay.
Portland, or Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is your return for Jaylen Brown. This is what you get for the guy who was top 5 in MVP voting all year.
Yeah. It's.
Hold on,
I
I'm on
didn't. Yeah.
Basketball
I didn't
Reference.
like
I'm
it.
pulling up Jaylen Brown stats. I wanna rant. I need a minute, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So 2025-26, the man averaged 28.7 points per game, 7
Mm-hmm.
rebounds, and 5
Mm-hmm.
assists.
Right.
What are we doing?
Listen. I'm not disagreeing.
No, 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 no.
You had a
I'm not
great.
mad at you, MJ. I'm not mad at you. I
Mm-hmm.
know you're gonna go and explain to the people why the executives did it, and I know you're gonna take the executive
Mm-hmm.
friendly side because
Mm-hmm.
you're a corporate sellout, and it's fine. Whatever. You can have. He had so many 40-point games this year. He was easily your best player this year for sure. Obviously in a year when Tatum's not around. But guess
Mm-hmm.
what? When you won a championship a few years ago, he was
Mm-hmm.
also your best player in
No, he
that
was
run.
not. No, he was not. No, he was not. Don't you? Oh my gosh. No,
MJ,
no,
he
we're
won
not doing
Finals
this. We're
MVP.
not. No, no, we're not doing
He
this. See,
won
we're not
Finals
doing this.
MVP.
No, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
I'm gonna
Please
put the
pivot. We're not
highlights
doing this.
back on. He won Finals
Mm-mm.
MVP.
No, no, I'm not. Nope, nope. I'm not. Just keep pushing. Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. Mm-hmm.
Listen, this is not the guy you give up. I'm sorry. This is not what you get in exchange for him.
Yes, I do agree with that. Yes.
On top of that, I truly believe that when Brown and Tatum were healthy, that
Mm-hmm.
they had a great argument for the best two-man duo in the league. Like they were the best two-man operation in the league. Because they affected the game offensively and defensively. You had shooting, you had
Yes. Yes.
playmaking, you had like they weren't selfish with each other. They moved the ball. They like and
Mm-hmm.
you won a finals. Yes, in 2023 you only beat the Mavs when you get to the finals, but the run that they had through the Eastern Conference was incredible. They were a top 5 offensive and defensive unit.
They should have done more. I'm gonna be honest. They should have done more. I wish they won the championship in 2022. So that was
But
because I
like
feel like in a sense they didn't underachieve like a crazy
they
amount,
never missed
but
the
it feels like
playoffs.
yeah, it definitely felt like it should have been more titles in Boston, basically during their time.
Maybe, but they did have who we thought was the best player in the league for a while in their conference in Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's going to make things
Yes.
very difficult to get through. There
Yeah.
was the Raptors year that made it very
Mm-hmm.
very difficult for them to get through. And I understand that you're supposed to beat difficult teams, but like you
Mm-hmm.
could argue that the Celtics were the undermanned or the underdog team in a lot of those series.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe the Heat one you could say like yeah the Celtics shouldn't have lost to the Heat, but like I still think that this team they achieved
Mm-hmm.
and there was so much more left to achieve considering that these
Mm-hmm.
guys were so young.
Yeah. It's it's tough. I think there's so much that obviously I'm a Tatum guy. Like I've been a Tatum guy for I
A
think probably
long
the
time.
last 4 to 5 years now. I'm always gonna believe that Jason Tatum should have gotten the Finals MVP, but I agree to disagree on that. Um, I think that overall they felt because here's the thing: Jalen Brown is obviously he's a good player. but he's also a player that has deficiencies. Right, like this is a guy that hasn't been the best off ball defender. This is a guy that you wouldn't necessarily wouldn't mind him being on ball for defense, but
He's
you know
guarded a lot
you
of teams'
you
best players.
yeah, like he's not POA, but he can kind of at times guard on ball, at least to a decent amount. And obviously on offense, like he's not the passer and playmaker that Tatum is. He's really a guy that's like really just a scorer. Like that's just ideally what he wants to get to. But he's still able to overall contribute to your offense, like in different ways and whatnot. It's just because I think a lot of people looked at this season and they just assumed like, oh my gosh, Jaylen Brown just went like crazy, and I kind of looked at it as like he's not really doing anything that different. If anything, he's just taking more shots. He's just a priority for the offense now, basically. So it's not like he was asked to make like a crazy leap with any of his like flaws. Like he still has those flaws, like those flaws are still there. But if anything, he's just taking a bigger piece of the pie offensively. So that's where I look at it. I look at the Celtics and they kind of view in their mind, we have to pay him over 200 mil, basically, or over 150 mil for the next 2 years after his Supermax deal. And we also had to consider the fact that we obviously they look at Tatum as being the better player, and they also look at Hugo and Baylor as we hope they can
Can
be
we
all
actually
stars.
can
We
we can we get
hope
into that so
they can be
that just in
something.
case
Yeah.
people don't know why we're bringing up some Spanish guys' names right now?
Mm-hmm.
So they had the option to trade for Giannis. It was on the table.
Mm-hmm.
It did
Mm-hmm.
involve Jaylen Brown,
Mm-hmm.
but that wasn't the thing that made them say no to it. It was not wanting to trade Hugo Gonzalez and who was the other guy?
Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman,
So two guys who play like less than 10 minutes a game,
rookies, I think.
rookies,
Yeah, rookies. Yeah,
because
Hugo's a rookie.
they believe
Mm-hmm.
at some point that these are going to be really really good players, which is fine.
Right.
Celtics
Right.
fans believe in them too,
Mm-hmm.
but you're saying no to a two-time MVP, Defensive Player of the
Mm-hmm.
Year, Finals MVP,
Mm-hmm.
champion,
Mm-hmm.
who is still a top 3 to 5 player in the league.
That's asking for a lot, man. That's asking for a lot. Now it's unfortunate and unnecessary pressure that's going to be put on them basically moving forward, but like I said, I'm not a part of the Boston staff. You're not part of the Boston staff, Z, so they must see something that we don't, which is why they kind of felt more confident in doing the Philly trade than they did. Because even ideally, like I think the holdup that Brad Stevens had wasn't just the young players, but it was also the contract. I think Giannis wanted to do a 2 year deal. I think Giannis wanted to do like a 3 year deal, but Brad wanted to do two. Like Giannis was ready to sign.
Yes.
I think I want people to understand. Giannis was ready to go to Boston. He actually
Yes.
wanted to go there,
Yes.
basically. But it was just Brad. There was just certain parameters and certain things that they wanted that he just wasn't willing to give. And it was just like, man, like Z, can you imagine like this trade goes down and instead of him going to Miami, it's Boston? I would have said, all right, hey,
Wrap up the
rings.
chip.
Yeah, we New York, get ready.
That's going to
Knicks,
be
y'all gotta
tough.
get ready. Like it's
Tatum, Giannis pick and rolls?
it was gonna get to that, and it was like now it goes from that to
Paul
now this, and it's
George.
just like it feels like they obviously they took a and again, it's nothing against Paul George, obviously,
No.
like it's nothing against him. It's just because the timing of this, doing this right now, and there's still a bunch of questions that they have to answer. Like, okay, Derek White is coming off a down season. How good is he gonna play this upcoming season? There's still questions at the five position. Like
Yes.
Neemias Queta is a good backup center, but obviously he wasn't good enough to.
Mitchell
He
Robinson
hasn't played good enough to be like a starting center. They got Mitchell Robinson, but Mitchell Robinson has injury issues, right?
and
And
free
obviously
throw
he's a
issues.
and free throw issues. So it's they still have those questions basically. But obviously, I have no doubt that Jason Tatum is going to be ready to go for this season. I have no doubt that Jason Tatum, who has been a guy that has been put when he's healthy, top five to top six player in this league, I'm expecting Jason Tatum to have another one of those seasons because I know he hears all the chatter, he hears all the noise, he hears a lot of the doubts and whatnot. I do expect Tatum to, because this will be this will technically be year 1.5 of him coming back
Yeah,
because he
because
came back
well, he
obviously
made a
earlier.
miraculous recovery. Like he should not
Yeah,
have
yeah.
by normal stretches
We
have not
were
have
all
made it
shocked.
back. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, we were all shocked. So he wouldn't. He's not even gonna be like 2 years removed from the injury. But I think
No.
obviously heading into this off season, it's not gonna be a rehab type of off season. It's gonna be an off season where he's able to get stronger, basically, and really generate more strength to his lower legs. So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see how they're gonna look. Obviously, now to kind of pivot to the Philly side of the Z, like I'm very
Yes.
interested with how Maxi, VJ, Embiid, and JB. I'm very interested to see how they're all gonna mesh.
Hmm.
I'm hearing LeBron to Philly. I actually think LeBron is the perfect player
It'd be
in
so
this
good.
in this
It'd be so
situation
good.
because
It'd be so good.
they need someone that's gonna pass the ball because I love Tyrese Maxey. I want Tyrese Maxey to score. Jaylen
Yes.
Brown ideally is better as a
Scorer.
scorer. VJ,
Scorer.
is really can be a good scorer in the future. Obviously,
Embiid.
Embiid is a good
Scorer.
scorer. So if they're able to get someone like LeBron who is able to facilitate, pass and play make for the offense, and obviously LeBron looks at it as I don't even have to be the top two option on his team. If Embiid's healthy,
I'm
I
barely a
can
top
probably be
three
the
option.
fourth option. Yeah, like
I'm
that.
just
That's the
cooling
thing
around,
too.
just throwing hee hees anytime I
Yeah,
want.
LeBron doesn't have to worry about being the primary or the secondary. It's either maybe the tertiary or
Yeah.
the last one after that. So what do you think about the Philly side of this? Kind of just looking at how they can contend, because I don't think they're championship contenders because too much of it depends on how healthy Embiid is gonna be. But they could potentially like what they did last year to Boston. They could upset a team or two, right? As, obviously with the circumstance that we're assuming Embiid is gonna miss games, but I think this is even better for them, Z, because they can rely less on Embiid. Like
Yeah.
Embiid now at this point, brother, just stay healthy for the season.
That's it.
And
You
then
don't
once
even
we
have to.
get to the
We don't want you to
postseason,
play 70, 80 games anymore. 65 to get
exactly.
your awards or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is it.
Exactly.
I got
Exactly.
a lot to say about the Philly thing in a positive
Mm-hmm.
way because
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia have very quickly like re-engaged the process and with more
Mm-hmm.
confidence in it than I think I've ever had in
Mm-hmm.
it. Like
Mm-hmm.
the Embiid Ben Simmons thing didn't work, so you retooled.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You fumbled with Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris in the past. We won't talk about that. That's fine. Whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
previous ownership. All of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you see Embiid starting to slowly get a little bit healthier and starting to care more
Mm-hmm.
about the game. Clearly, he wants
Right.
to win. Tyrese
Mm-hmm.
Maxey is a like box office bucket getting all star level player. He's one of the best
He
point
keeps getting
guards.
better. He's getting better.
He's one of the best point guards you could have in the NBA right now, especially for the modern NBA, the way that they play.
Yes.
VJ
Yes.
Edgecombe was a revelation last year. I think one of the most underrated in the rookie class for
Mm-hmm.
just what he brings to the table as a mature, like solid NBA player.
Yeah.
The only thing that this team was missing was like
Mm-hmm.
a do it all wing. A guy who could be healthy the whole year, score the ball, defend on the ball, and sort of just like meld the blend between Maxi's perimeter scoring and Embiid's
Mm-hmm.
inside scoring. Can you get someone who could do like all the in the middle stuff?
Right.
That's what Jaylen Brown is.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that,
Mm-hmm.
because he's such a cerebral player and such an experienced player so deep in the playoffs, this is a guy who
Mm-hmm.
can educate your young players. This is your mentor to VJ
Mm-hmm.
Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey, and to a degree, Joel
Mm-hmm.
Embiid. Even though
Mm-hmm.
Embiid, he's reached his level of superstardom and is a man of his own right.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy who can sort of help fix some things in the locker room there. I don't think Jaylen Brown's a toxic locker room presence.
All right.
I think that
Yeah.
this like very clearly makes Philadelphia like a
Mm-hmm.
top echelon team in the East and in the NBA. I don't think they're going to be judged by their regular season performance because
Mm-hmm.
Embiid's going to miss some games. Likely Jaylen
Mm-hmm.
Brown, we'll see how they do with his minutes and his games
Mm-hmm.
played. Maxi
Mm-hmm.
as well, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking like a top 3 seed in the East most likely, but a
Oh wow.
definitive playoff contender in my
Wow.
opinion.
Wow. Top three.
Well,
Hmm.
because like they're I don't the only team that really I see them struggling with in the playoffs or in a regular season series is New York. That's it. Like I don't see any team top to bottom in their roster that is better than Philly, other than maybe New York.
I, I'm higher on Indiana. I think ideally just like the Hallie thing, but I'm higher. I'm one of those people that is higher on Indiana.
Yeah,
Um, I think Toronto, if this whole Kawhi things gets fixed, I think Toronto's another team that can beat them
Yeah.
in a sense. I'm forgetting a team. I thought about Cleveland. I was like, God, just
Also,
we
the
didn't even
East is
get to the
surprisingly
Donovan
stacked
Mitchell.
too.
We didn't even get to the Donovan Mitchell contract. We'll
No,
get to later.
we'll
But
get into that as well.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. I will say I do agree with you on the basis that I don't think they're going to be a top three seed, but they'll definitely win a lot of games because I think the issue was when Embiid missed games last year, it was a lot harder for them to be consistent in the regular season. But now with them getting Jaylen Brown, it kind of gives that extra insurance that even if Embiid misses games, Jaylen Brown is still gonna help us get more wins in the regular season in a sense. So I do agree with that because that was something that I was thinking about as this trade was being made was Jaylen Brown is gonna give them more of an insurance of even when Embiid is out, we're still gonna be like okay. Like we're not gonna have the steep drop off that we've been having when he's not playing, as compared to now having Jaylen Brown. Yes, there's still a drop off, but we can still stay afloat. I think if anything, I kind of wish like Philly was able to address their depth in a sense. I think that was an issue for
Yeah.
them last year versus the Knicks. But in this situation, listen, with the way that the Eastern Conference is right now, with the way that the Knicks just played, getting to the finals, with the way that Indiana is about to be, with the way that Toronto, assuming this Kawhi thing gets fixed, is gonna be obviously with Philly, right? Like there's gonna be comp in the Eastern Conference next year, and I think you look at a lot of these teams that have made these moves. It's understanding that we're trying to go for it. We're trying to beat the Knicks. We're trying to be where the Knicks were last year, basically. So I like the fact that they're like I said they're gonna take a risk. Obviously, Jalen Brown's contract is a big contract, very very big contract. So you have that risk of that as well, but listen, at the end of the day, like they wanted to swing for the fences. They wanted to give themselves a path to the chip. And yeah, I think I was already hearing people talking about, well, who's gonna be the bona fide player on the team, and this is that. It's Tyrese Maxey's team. I
Absolutely.
want people to I want people to know that. Like I know Jalen Brown got there and whatnot. This is still
And
Tyrese
Joel.
Maxey's
And
team.
Joel
He's
because
earned
he's
that.
an MVP. Joel has to
Right,
be in
right,
that. Yeah.
right. He
It's him and
Tyrese Maxey
Maxi.
has earned that staple, especially knowing that these last 2 to 3 years with Embiid missing time, Tyrese Maxey has had to grow a lot as a player with
Yeah.
him missing that time, basically. So yeah, wow, top three. Well, I mean, you never know, right? Because you can. I think Miami might be up there in the win columns in a sense.
I also think
Obviously
they're a really
Boston.
good fit too. Like I just think like
Yeah,
in terms of
yeah,
chemistry,
yeah.
this team has a lot of potential. There's just
I
enough
just
shooting to make it work. Like
it's just a lot of guys who can shoot, but just I LeBron actually joining this team would actually be good
yes,
because it's like now I can just envision VJ and LeBron pick and roll, Maxi LeBron pick and roll, JB LeBron pick and roll,
LeBron
basically
Embiid
like
pick and roll.
right, like inverted pick and rolls, basically like I can just already envision in the sense that you can kind of run a lot of those actions basically because that's what they're missing. They need a good decision maker. They need someone who is able to just facilitate their offense and get the ball to guys that and yeah
Yeah,
that's just what they're missing. Like I don't mind the team that they have. Like obviously I think that they'll be a good team. It's just if LeBron is able to join this team, I feel a lot better about how they're gonna look basically. But they gotta address their depth. Um that's something that's gonna be an issue. They did get Anthony Simons and whatnot, which I feel a little iffy about that, but I think Anthony Simons can come in there and
and if
score off
he's
the
coming
bench.
off the bench, I think that makes Anthony Simons a very deadly player if he's playing against
Yeah,
second
you never
string
know.
guards.
You never know. It's the archetype that he has where it's like a smaller guard, trying to be a scorer and whatnot, that archetype. But
Yeah,
yeah, we'll see. They gotta address their depth though. They gotta try. I don't know how much money they have cap space wise, but they definitely gotta find a way to get a few more players if they can. Because Drummond's not there anymore. Drummond went to another team.
yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna have to figure that out, that whole situation out.
Still, also some interesting free agents available in the market. We can get into
Hmm.
that later as well. But definitely, I think Philly's the winner of this trade. There's no doubt about it. Boston,
Hmm.
I don't feel bad because I hate Celtics fans anyways. I hate Boston anyways.
Okay.
It's good.
Uh.
Let Boston be bad. Let's just be happy about that. Um, speaking
Mhm.
of Philly, Philly's
Mhm.
very own Kyle Lowry,
Mhm.
big announcement from the big booty greatest Raptor of all time, Kyle Lowry. He is
Mhm.
retiring after an illustrious NBA career,
Mhm.
an NBA champion, a multiple time All Star, the greatest Raptor of all time, calls it a career. Um,
Yes.
in a big press conference announcement, certainly a lot of players voicing how they felt about Lowry. He's had a
Mhm.
lot of teammates who speak very, very highly of him.
Mhm.
Kyle Lowry, to me personally, matters a lot. I'm wearing my Raptors championship T-shirt today, um,
Right.
in honor of him. I grew up watching Kyle Lowry highlights and DeMar DeRozan
Mhm.
highlights because that was the era when I
Mhm.
was in high school,
Right.
and you know, early in his career was not a highly touted prospect. The
Mhm.
first two teams he went on drafted point guards immediately after drafting him.
Mhm.
He was cited as having attitude issues and being a little bit
Mhm.
stubborn to change his ways. Until
Right.
coming to the Raptors, where they gave him a chance. They brought in some former players. I believe Mo Pete was a huge part of that, and started
Mhm.
giving him more of a role. Started teaching him how to play at the NBA level and sort of what his role could be. They
Right.
draft DeRozan, and him and Debo become best friends. Soon they both become
Mhm.
all stars. The Raptors are starting to compete for playoff series. We remember "Fuck Brooklyn" was hilarious. Masai Ujiri,
Yeah.
uh, Paul Pierce's game winner. I would argue that built a lot of character in the Raptors
Mhm.
as well. They became a
Mhm.
much more serious team. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously the big battles against the guy whose jersey I have up here, LeBron,
Mhm.
might have brought down Lowry's career, but then you get Kawhi Leonard to come in. This team comes as a
Mhm.
perfect storm. And now you see
Yes.
what Lowry is meant to be. He's a three-point shooter, he's
Mhm.
a playmaker, and he is a hard-nosed defender. And they win a
Mhm.
championship behind, him being the second best player on that team, I would argue. Him and
Mhm.
Pascal Siakam, you can have that debate if you want, whatever.
Mhm.
End of his career was a little bit more quiet. He was a role player in Miami and a role player in Philly, but a great locker room presence.
Yeah.
Listen, at the end of the day, I
Yeah.
think Kyle Lowry is going to have a criminally underrated career.
Mhm.
Raptors fans will remember who he is. MJ, what did
Mhm.
Kyle Lowry's career mean to you? He played for Houston momentarily.
Early, early,
Very
early,
early,
early.
very
I
early.
didn't catch too much of his time in Houston. Um, Man, Kyle Lowry. I think I think the two things that kind of come up for me to uh kind of put a bow on the segment was I think he's one of the all time leaders in
There's a
charges
20
drawn.
minute YouTube highlight reel of just
Right.
charges drawn by Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I think Toronto put something on their YouTube. It was like a 38-minute video, just Kyle
Yes.
Lowry charges.
Yes.
Like they did something like
He
that,
got LeBron
basically.
a bunch of times on those, believe it or not.
Which I was just kind of I've never seen. We've seen all the NBA highlights in the world. I've never seen one for Chargers. Like, that was the first time that I think I've ever seen one
And not flopping,
for
by the way.
Chargers.
Like genuinely
Nah,
just
he
standing there and
hmm
taking contact.
right place, right time, and the
Yep.
right positioning too. Like I remember countless times. I think for a few games here and there, I'm like, Kyle Lowry, he was already there. He was already there. He was already there, and obviously that's a skill. Like to be able to do that consistently is a skill because a lot of players sometimes they move, so it's a blocking foul, or they're not in the restricted area and all those types of things. So I think obviously what he was able to do that was important, and obviously the Kawhi trade. Z, do you remember when Kyle Lowry was like mad that DeMar
Yes.
got traded, and it was
Yes.
obviously he was very upset because obviously they were good friends during their time in Toronto, and Kyle was just kind of like, man, nah, like why'd they trade my guy and all that type of stuff. Kawhi's pulling up and whatnot, but then they eventually say, you know what? Obviously, still got to be a basketball player, still got to
Yeah.
be a professional, still got to go and do my job. And man, like now you look at the fact that he's a champion now because, obviously not just Kawhi, but also him being a very important part of that championship team was the reason why. Because obviously, them making that type of trade, obviously they knew how it was going to affect Kyle and knowing that that was one of his closest friends. But it was also making this move to be like, man, we're trying to get a step closer to the championship. We're trying to
Yeah.
get a step closer to get into that destination basically. And obviously, unfortunately, those LeBron years,
Oh,
LeBron was
tough
just
years,
out
man.
there terrorizing people. basically, right? The Raptors unfortunately got a lot of those caught a lot of those years as well. But hey, they were able to not just get Kawhi and not just have Kyle Lowry, but also have a great team,
And
a
win with
great
that
great
too. Like
team.
really like win
Yes.
at a high level. Like their
Mm-hmm.
chemistry was great. Their culture was great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And so I appreciate Kyle Lowry for that, and I do agree. I think he'll fly under the radar a lot. I feel like now moving forward, he'll fly under the radar a lot. But I know one thing for sure: Raptors fans will never forget about him. They'll
No.
never forget about his contributions and what he was able to do, bringing them a championship and being a part of that as well. And yeah, he was just someone that was always obviously, the playoffs wasn't always like his best time in terms of his performance or whatnot, but he was still able to be important for them, being able to have that leadership, being able to be there for the younger guys
Yep.
in a sense was extremely important. Because Pascal Siakam, excuse me, during that time wasn't the offensive player then that he is now.
No, he was
And a
very
lot of
raw
those
at the
years
time.
and a lot of those years were because Kyle Lowry was there helping him, making him understand the game too. Fred, right? Like Fred was, I
Yep.
think, also too. Like Fred is the player
Fred
that he
Fred
is
is
now.
so much of what he is because he learned from what Kyle Lowry was doing
Ex-
with them in
ex-
Toronto. There's so much of that in this
exactly.
game.
Exactly. So it's like they were able to learn from him basically, and it was really important for their development because obviously we see Pascal now in Indy doing this thing. We see Fred obviously going to Houston and being an important like now Fred is kind of taking on the Kyle Lowry role now for my team there in Houston, being that vet. So yeah, I appreciate Kyle for what he was able to do, and obviously anytime there's stuff like retirement stuff happening or whatnot, I know people have conversations about, oh, is he a Hall of Famer? Is he this or that? Sometimes it's not even about that. Sometimes it's just appreciating them for what they were able to do in the
Absolutely.
time that they were in the league. So shout out to Kyle Lowry for being that cog for Toronto, man. Being that spark plug at times for Toronto, being the
Yep.
the orchestrator for them at times because a lot of stuff doesn't happen because in a sense, like obviously it was Kyle and Demar like leading that frame, leading the Raptors
Yes.
for a long time, but it was
Yes.
really Kyle. Like Kyle was really the one
People
that was
forget
like
he
the
was
face
averaging
of them.
over 20 points a
Face of them.
game. He was averaging 7 assists. He was one of the
Yes.
best defensive point guards in the league at one point.
Yes.
And like
Mm-hmm.
I get the leadership is I think what goes most untalked about
Mm-hmm.
with him is like yes he was a great encore
Yes.
producer, but like he kept
Mm-hmm.
everybody so engaged. And when the Raptors were down
Yes.
in big games, I can remember
Mm-hmm.
time after time Lowry being the
Mm-hmm.
one to get the offense restarted with some
Right.
crazy pull up three that like
Mm-hmm.
got the whole Air Canada Center just jumping.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was really that guy for that team. Like I speak about him like really glowingly, and I understand that it's because I'm a Raptors fan and because of the nostalgia. But like, he
Mm-hmm.
did he did mean a lot to a city and a country that like really rocked behind him for like a
Yes.
decade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
definitely an iconic player. It's I don't know if like is he a Hall of Famer? I think you could argue that like maybe not first ballot for sure, but at some point could be a Hall of Famer. Multiple time All Star and NBA champion. Um, definitely a
Uh,
successful player, but that could just be my Raptors bias. Honestly, I can accept that.
yeah, I'll be honest, it's not even nothing against Kyle Lowry, but the way the Hall of Fame is nowadays, it's just like I don't know at this point what
It's
the
tough.
qualifications are. So it's been all over the place now. So
Yeah,
yeah.
big shout out Kyle Lowry. Him and DeMar
Mm-hmm.
DeRozan, great teammates, great friends. Some of
Mm-hmm.
the best guys to watch during those
Mm-hmm.
years in the Raptors. Want to revisit something that we talked about last week.
Mm-hmm.
LaMelo Ball to the Wolves,
Mm-hmm.
huge move. Still
Mm-hmm.
in shock from
Mm-hmm.
that, especially the fact that they kept Jaden McDaniels and now we have
Mm-hmm.
LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, and Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert,
Yeah.
and no Julius Randle. Like just things are looking great in Minnesota. Um,
Yeah. So what's going on?
I saw a report on the score, and I will
Mm-hmm.
try to find it so I can credit the guy who wrote it and got the report out.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
apparently, the trade that the Hornets facilitated to get LaMelo Ball to the Wolves was because
Mm-hmm.
of their concerns for their long term future. They believe
Right.
more in the rest of their core, which is to say that
Mm-hmm.
Cotton Kneppel, Brandon Miller, and their future moving forward is going to be brighter without Melo than with Melo, especially in the
Mm-hmm.
long term.
Right.
Um, I just thought that was a really crazy take for that franchise to have, considering that, you were just starting to see what the long term benefits of Melo were going to be now that he finally
Mm-hmm.
took you to the postseason in terms of a play in tournament. And
Mhm.
and him and Brandon Miller had good chemistry. Him and Concaneppel had good chemistry, and it felt like all you needed was a young playmaker to make those two just keep working. And you traded
Mhm.
him away and then extended Kobe White.
Mhm.
I have no idea what to say about that. MJ, are the Hornets better off long term without LaMelo Ball on their roster? Please explain.
Uh, Listen, man. Obviously, I took the political approach last week by kind of giving the Hornets a little bit of like a saving grace in a sense with the trade. Obviously, I don't think it was a great trade for them just because I think especially Khan and Brandon were so dependent on Lamelo getting them the ball, especially Khan. Um, Obviously, no, I don't think that they're gonna be better because with doing this trade, you automatically take a step back. But obviously, I think with them saying he's not included in the long term futures was I don't obviously they knew Lamelo was very talented. Like Lamelo staying there, I don't think was never the issue. It was just again the injuries, right? Like the injuries and consistently having to deal with those every single year. Like it wasn't a coincidence that they trade him away when he has I think his highest games played in terms of his total. And also with him sometimes coming off the bench playing less minutes or him starting playing less minutes, right? Like it wasn't an accident or it wasn't a coincidence. Like they were trying to find ways to maximize him as much as possible with still making sure that he's as healthy as he can be going into the play-in basically or going deep into the regular season. And so obviously they're not going to be better, but I understand them making this move. It's just it's a lot to ask, especially for Khan and for Brandon. Like obviously they also got off of Miles Bridges as well. This is clearly them kind of ramping up the runways for Khan, Brandon, Kobe. Like this is gonna be y'all. Like this is gonna be y'all. Y'all are gonna be running the show. And obviously with the new tanking rules now, Z, like they're incentivized to still play. They're still incentivized to still be in the playing mix. They're still incentivized to still be engaged during all of the regular season, right? So yeah, they'll take a step back. Obviously, like I had high hopes for them going into the season, like assuming Lamelo was still there. That I'm like, man, they're gonna go from like being a playing team to potentially being a top 6 seed, basically, right? Like I had that type of hope for them because of how good they were in the second half of the season. But
Yeah,
yeah, listen, obviously they traded him at they traded him when his value was at its highest and they got rid of him when his value was at its highest. So obviously, we're always gonna disagree with the move, no matter what. But in their minds, it was just kind of like every single year having the unknown of how many games Lamelo was gonna play and whatnot. So yeah,
yeah,
obviously they know more than us. They know he's talented. That was never the issue. The issue was
that
just
can't be the issue.
the the availability. Well, I mean, Lamelo at times he has kind of like that recklessness that they on the court at times. But you also know that it's like he's a great passer, has great vision, is able to play make, is able to table set for a lot of guys. Like that skill set is obviously there. They just felt in their mind like, hey man, listen, we don't know how he's gonna be looking every single year. And even going into Minnesota, that's also gonna be a question. How healthy is LaMelo Ball gonna be going into the season, right? So yeah, yeah, it's I get it. I get the idea of what they were trying to do, but obviously it's just asking a lot. It's just asking a lot for those young players.
Definitely, definitely, and I also think like it's kind of throwing Lamelo under the bus here a little bit to try to make this move
Yeah,
seem
yeah.
somehow more justified, when very
Mhm.
clearly like Lamelo vibed with the culture in
Mhm.
Charlotte, and definitely like he repped that team. He never complained about being on that team or not being on a playoff team or anything like that. Sort of just
Mhm.
wanted them to make more moves to put better players around him, which I think is very valid considering that most of the rosters that Charlotte put together were hot garbage, and Melo was like the only
Mhm.
hope for that team to go anywhere. Again, um,
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything bad about Brandon Miller or Concaneppel. I think they're
Mhm.
great young players. I think now
Mhm.
they definitely have a hole in their playmaking. They don't have someone who can
Yeah.
unselfishly set up the rest of the team.
Mhm.
And I think that that's going to be a detriment to their offense. And like you said, with the new tanking rules, you're not incentivized to lose
Yeah.
anymore. It doesn't make sense to me. You make this move again with the CBA being the way it is. You've locked up a
Yeah.
player
That
who
too.
is like
That too.
he's a young player. You've got him on a very team friendly deal to this stage.
Mhm.
You've got a couple
Mhm.
years left. Like at least run one
Mhm.
more season with him. Like I would say
Yeah,
one more
yeah.
season. If it doesn't work out, you could get this trade again. I think this is what me and Noah were arguing with you against last week, which is just to
Hmm.
say that like give the guy a chance, right? Give him a chance to
Yeah,
show you. And if he doesn't show you, you took the L anyway.
yeah. That's what they kind of demonstrated was this was show us what you have this year, and
Yes.
they. I don't think it was never show us this so you can stay here long term. Show us this so we can
Pump your trade
trade
value
you.
up,
So
which still makes no sense to me. The Jaw trade feels more
yeah,
valid than the Melo trade to me. It makes no
it's still
sense.
still a crazy trade, man. Still a crazy trade.
Listen, he's gonna look great in Minnesota. I
Hmm.
think him and Anthony Edwards have got a whole other thing coming for this league.
Gotta
It's gonna
pray
be
for the
scary.
PR team for Minnesota. That's for sure.
Oh, they
That
better have a
PR
whole
team.
department just responsible for dedicating funds
Yeah,
to
I
the
just
fines that those
oh my
guys are going to
gosh, man.
create. It's going to be
Just
crazy.
don't have both of them in the press conference
Please
either.
do not.
I just realized
First
that has
first
to be
game of the
done.
year, let's have them both on a press conference. Media day
Yeah, I
is going
just
to be
oh
fun.
man. Oh man. Yeah.
Last but not least, we got to end on a big note, and we're going to end back in Toronto with Kawhi Leonard.
Oh
The
boy.
aspiration scandal continues.
When's the last time we talked about this? Was it like in February?
I think
January?
so. I believe so. I believe so.
Right.
You wrote
Yeah.
a article for the Reflector about it. Great article, by the
Yes.
way. Definitely
Mm-hmm.
worth checking out. But
Mm-hmm.
after the deal was originally agreed on by the two teams pending league approval, Adam Silver
Mm-hmm.
remembered, oh, wait, we kind of have a legal investigation going on you guys. Hold on a minute. We can't.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Pause.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out that if the Raptors make a trade for Kawhi Leonard, they're going to have to bear the brunt of the consequences he might incur when it comes to the salary cap circumvention
Right.
that took place. There's another salary cap circumvention actually we got to get into before we end after this.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, because Kawhi Leonard was being paid under the table by Aspiration, allegedly, and was being paid for no-show sponsorships, allegedly,
Mm-hmm.
the league wants to punish him. On the list of punishments that could possibly happen, you were looking at a suspension. We're looking at avoided contracts. We don't know
Mm-hmm.
if this trade will go through. If that's the case, because
Mm-hmm.
obviously the teams would, I believe, be allowed to make alterations to the deal if a
Mm-hmm.
consequence happens, and then maybe the Raptors don't have to give up nearly as much to go and get him.
Mm-hmm.
I've also seen some people talk about how if the contract gets voided, how the Raptors could still just sign Kawhi Leonard in free agency and would probably be able to sign him at a lower value because now he's got that
Yeah.
attached to
Yeah.
him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely a lot of different places for this to go. MJ, if you're the Raptors over here, how concerned are you about this aspiration scandal, and were you concerned about it when you made the deal?
Uh I wouldn't say I was concerned about it because we haven't heard anything since like January.
We thought it was kind
So
of
I
in the
just
dust, right?
assumed, yeah, yeah. I didn't hear anything from Pablo. I think Pablo Torre was still releasing. By the way, Pablo Torre was the one who
Big shout out
kind of
Pablo
exposed
Torre.
everything. Um, but because we didn't hear anything for a long time, I figured, okay, probably Adam Silver's probably done with this, basically, right? Like it just nothing's happening. But and also technically, we can be honest, they never resolved the investigation. I think they just delayed it because there was a lot happening during the season, and they didn't want it to be like this ultimate big distraction.
And they let him play too
So
because he drives ratings. Let's
right,
be honest.
right, right.
There's a
So
business here.
they funny enough, they waited until regular season, postseason, finals, and the draft, the lottery, the draft, free agency. They went through everything. And now you kind of had this perfect time where the only thing going on for the NBA is just a summer league, basically, right? So it's like an open period for the league right now to to kind of resume on this. And yeah, oh man, because Toronto, I think Toronto obviously they wanted to make this trade. They understood the risk of making this trade with Kawhi, but they also understood in the sense like this aspiration thing isn't done. But
Right.
we're hoping that maybe Adam Silver will cut us some slack. Maybe like he'll forget about it and whatnot. But unfortunately, Adam Silver obviously they never put a pen on it. And they did say that I think Sham said the final hearing I think for it is gonna be in the next few weeks. Now, Z, I'll be honest, if I'm a Raptors fan, that's where I get concerned. That's where I get concerned because if I'm hearing, oh, it's only for the next few weeks, I kind of get nervous and nervous and
Yes.
nervous because The more time goes, the more this trade isn't official, the more like concern that starts to build up because I don't know if you mentioned it, but Kawhi was at Kyle Lowry's thing in Toronto.
Yes,
Like
that's
he was
true.
already in Toronto.
This is
He was
true.
at he was already in Toronto. I think he already did the physical. Like everything's ready. Like the contract is already ready for him to sign and whatnot. Like everything's done. And so now to know that this is the only thing that's stopping this, it will get me concerned. It will get me concerned because you know how the league is gonna do. They're gonna drag this out
Yes.
probably until the rest of the month, going into early August, and then obviously once we get into early August, then there's not gonna be too
It'll be
much
like
going
right
on in the
before
NBA.
media day. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
it's
right
that
before
that
media
dead
day.
span of NBA
Mm-hmm.
offseason. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's
Because
all
obviously
business. It's
there's
all
still summer
marketing.
league. Yeah, there's still summer league going on right now, but August is I feel like when we're gonna hear something about this. Basically, it's gonna be like a random Shams bomb where it's like breaking the resolution be da 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 da, and yeah. So
Yeah.
overall, I will be concerned if I'm a Raptors fan just because it's gonna take some time, and it's like dang, like we gotta wait even more time to get this trade done. Like that's where I'll be concerned for sure.
Yeah. I also do think that the Raptors, if they wanted Kawhi Leonard, they were gonna go and get him regardless of this sort of
Yeah,
whole thing. The Raptors know
yeah,
that they
they
need
were
a few more
targeting him the
pieces
whole
to go
time.
and like, yeah, they need a piece that can take them over the hump and actually bring Scotty Barnes into a deep playoff run. And Kawhi Leonard's the
Mm-hmm.
perfect piece to do that. He's a guy who's been here before. Fan base loves
Mm-hmm.
him. City loves him. Still
Mm-hmm.
remnants of his team here. No, none of the championship team for sure in terms of players, but guys in the
Mm-hmm.
front office, assistant coaches, things like that might still be there. It's a very familiar environment for him. I also think
Mm-hmm.
for Kawhi Leonard, why not want to be back in Toronto? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this was
Yeah.
like the prime of your career when
Mm-hmm.
you were really like hooping at your best level. You were the healthiest you had been in so long. A lot of pleasant
Mm-hmm.
memories there. Restaurants were offering him free food. Places were offering him free stays wherever he wanted. And
Mm-hmm.
like I'm just like I have the highlights of Kawhi Leonard during that Raptors run in 2019 playing here. And just like
Mm-hmm.
the way the city felt when he was there was definitely so great. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think the aspiration scandal affects him coming to Toronto. I think it affects maybe the price that they're going to pay for him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's less draft capital involved. I think obviously you still need Brandon Ingram to make the contracts sort of
Yeah.
work out there.
Yeah.
Maybe an extension. I don't know if an extension is going to get drawn up as well or not. We'll see about that. But
Mm-hmm.
MJ, when you look at this Kawhi Leonard Raptors trade now, with a few days having um, passed since it happened, like where
Mm-hmm.
do the Raptors sort of rank in that, Eastern Conference echelons? We were talking about it with Philly earlier. Like, are they an
Mm-hmm.
S tier, A tier, B tier team? They got to be in one of those top three for sure. I think they're
All right.
high A tier, low S tier.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think ideally I think ST obviously is New York because they just won.
Yeah.
But
Potentially
I
Philly
think
with their
then
roster.
yes, yes. I think obviously because um we still had to see what happens with Indy, with Boston, with Miami, and with all these other teams. I definitely think Toronto's in that A tier for me just because they they they're not missing that much. Like obviously, I think Jakob and that contract is gonna always get conversation. But to me, you got the length, you got a bunch of wings, you got a lot of athletes, you got a lot of guys who can defend. Obviously, Scotty, if he's able to take that step in being better offensively overall, I definitely think that they're up there just because you add Kawhi to this team and one of the things that Toronto was lacking last year was a closer, right?
Yes.
Like obviously Scotty is still developing as an offensive player, which is why it was difficult for him to at times create his own shot. Basically, obviously you had the RJ miracle shot that went in the Cleveland series, but that's really one of the things that they were missing was a guy down the stretch of a game, we need a bucket or we need somebody to game to for a game winner. Like that's what Kawhi Leonard is able to do. Kawhi Leonard has been able to do that going back to his days in Toronto and also doing that with the Clippers. So now it's if they're able to get that, that's able to be the bridge for them from both an offensive standpoint and also a defensive standpoint because now Kawhi doesn't necessarily have to do as much on defense, right?
No.
Because you obviously have other guys who can defend on that team as well. Whereas when you go to the offensive side of the ball, that's where I feel like his value is going to show up even more,
Yeah.
because that's something that the Raptors have struggled with necessarily, especially in the clutch, and especially with their half court scoring in the playoffs. That was also an issue that they had, right? So Kawhi is able to come in and automatically solve those two problems on
Yep.
offense while also being still a good option on defense too.
Yeah, and like even offensively, as the Raptors did struggle with those things, they still were able to find, gritty ways to score. Brandon Ingram
Yeah.
certainly looked great in his role with the Raptors. And RJ
Hmm.
Barrett, Emmanuel quickly had their moments as a great backcourt for Toronto
Hmm.
as well. Emmanuel quickly, some nights where he could just
Hmm.
shoot the lights out. I think he had like a 40 plus point night with less than 20 shot attempts or something like that. It was
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
ridiculous stats that you've seen from the team, ridiculous offensive nights, and you add Kawhi Leonard to that, it's going to make everybody
Hmm.
else's life on offense easier. I think this is definitely a very high level team in the Eastern Conference, and in a very stacked Eastern Conference, mind you. The East has gotten to be a seriously, seriously good
Yeah.
conference.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
For sure.
we're running here into overtime. MJ,
Hmm.
last question I want to ask you about here. All of these trades, all of these signings that we've seen here have kept the offseason very, very interesting. But one big topic that's coming out, and maybe we could talk about it in a future episode as well, because I think there's a lot
Hmm.
more to be done with this here. The
Hmm.
second apron has really changed the way teams have moved players and treated contracts, especially how players have
Yeah.
treated their own contracts
Oh,
as well.
my goodness.
You look at
Sorry about that.
you're
Sorry
all
about
good.
that. Go ahead.
You look at the way that Jalen Brunson structured his contract, taking 100+ million off the table so that the team could build around him. You look at the way that Draymond Green right now and James Harden not signing deals
Hmm.
to make room for LeBron under
Right.
that second apron. And then you look at the
Hmm.
trades, Jalen Brown for Paul George, the money reasons behind that. I wanted to
Hmm.
ask you, how have you seen the second apron change player value in the league, both terms in trades and in contracts, free agency and all that? How has that second apron changed at all for you?
Man, it's weird because obviously the NBA has always been like a very salary cap league. I think back then they used to be a little bit more friendlier than it is now, but obviously you still needed to build a team with the money that you have and be able to make sure that you have the right structure for a team and the contracts and everything around it and whatnot. But obviously, I think the CBA, a lot of people throw hate towards CJ McCollum because he was one of the people that organized it. I obviously never agree with the CBA because this was to demolish super teams, but ideally we didn't have a super team issue during that time. I don't think like I think the only ones were like the Suns with like KD, Book, and Beal.
Yeah.
Like that might have been the only time where,
The
or
Celtics
KD,
tax
Book,
bill was going to start
CP3.
getting really expensive too at a
Right,
certain
right,
point. Yeah.
right. And then the Celtics, but I don't think the Celtics were a super team. I think that's just
No.
a team that again was a really good team with obviously two really good players and a really good roster around them. Um, but yeah, I think this with the new CBA with the new second apron, it kind of forces you to be careful with the type of contracts that you give towards certain players. Like it's you have obviously the Wembys, you had the Lucas, you had the Shays, you had the Jokic's, you have the top of the top guys getting that type of money, and deservedly so, right? Because these are the best players in the NBA, the best players on their own team, and they contribute a lot to what they're able to do. But with the second apron, in the sense, like Bobby Marks said something to where like the second apron is not a place that you want to be if you're not contending. If you're a team
That's
that
right.
is contending, then you understand being in that second apron because you're taking risks, you're taking swings, you're trying to swing for the fences and then see what you can get, which is fine. But when you're a team that's not really competing and you're in the second apron, that's not a good place to be, right? So obviously, a team, for example, is like the Denver Nuggets right now. They are a team that doesn't have a lot of wiggle room to make moves. Now, obviously, the Denver Nuggets aren't a young team, but they're a team that has aspirations to be a championship contending team. But ever since 2023, what's happened, Z? Like they got eliminated in the second round versus Minnesota. They got eliminated in the second round again versus OKC in 7 games last year. This year they got eliminated in the first round versus Minnesota with the hurt Anthony Edwards for 6 games,
Yes.
right? And so now the second apron is very damaging to them because not only do they don't have a lot of wiggle room to make moves to improve their team, but they also got to pay their own players. They're dealing with the Peyton Watson is seeking 25 million a year
Yeah.
right now,
Which is
basically, and he's a
crazy.
restricted free agent, basically. So now they have those issues money wise, right? Like we just saw with Cleveland. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell got an insane contract,
Yep.
basically,
Oh,
that's going
it's
to pay him
almost
over
70 million a year, right?
north of 60 mil.
Yeah.
Starting, I don't know when that contract kicks in, but
After
whenever
after
it
next
kicks
year.
in
After
at
next
the
year.
next year, so it's going to be he's going to start getting paid over 60
Yeah.
mil a
Gary Trent
year, and the
Jr. just
Cavs.
got 16 million a year. The Bucks are being
Mhm.
investigated for that too.
Yeah. And so a team like Cleveland that made the conference finals, and I understand all of that, but obviously they didn't play good enough to elevate their play against the New York Knicks. They were a team that were second apron team last year, right? And so they were obviously they lost Ty Jerome in an offseason before. Now they lose Dean Wade, right? So they got to be able to figure out, like, obviously James Harden opting out was what made the Donovan Mitchell deal happen, right? And now they're trying to get LeBron. They're hoping LeBron is able to come to Cleveland, basically, in a sense. But Cleveland was also a team that was also in the second apron. And last year they had a historic season, but then they got beat in the second round versus the Pacers. Now, granted, there were a bunch of injuries. Obviously, Garland got hurt. I think Mobley got hurt. Donovan Mitchell broke down later on in the series versus Indiana. But they were still issues, basically, because what the second apron does is when you start paying and overpaying and paying and paying and paying, what that does is you don't have a lot of wiggle room to get the players that you want because you're scared. Because for the people who don't know, if teams get to that second apron, you got to start paying like penalties because of the new CBA. So you in a sense got to pay. It's funny enough, you're already paying money to players, but now you got to pay even more money to the league because of the fact that you're bordering around that second apron line. Obviously the salary cap, I think floor or money is different every single year because the league is growing and the league is generating more money. So the salary cap ideally is supposed to be going up, which means that there's going to be more space for you to go and sign players. But yeah, it is damaging. If you're a team that is not contending and you're in the second apron, that is like the worst place to be. Because at least if you're a team that's contending and is trying to go for it, okay, I understand that. But really, if you're a team that's because Minnesota was also a team that was a second apron team. I think they still are a second apron team. No, I don't think they're a second apron team anymore. I think because of the Randall deal and the Nasri deal, they were able to get out of that. And Mike
Despite also
Conley
being
didn't
able to
sign
get
back.
LaMelo Ball, yeah.
Right. But and they did get Lamelo, but yeah, Minnesota was also a team that was trying to find ways to get under the second apron because they were paying they were paying over 200 mil, I think, for the last 2 years beforehand, basically, right? So they were
Yeah.
dedicating a lot of money, basically, to them, to those players and to that team. So, yeah, it's if you don't work it the right way,
Yeah.
and you give out bad contracts, and obviously, listen, contracts can only tell you the value of what you hope a player can be, and also what he has given you so far. But Z, you start giving out bad contracts, and then players don't start playing well,
And then
and
you're
then
fucked. You're
and
actually
then
you're
yeah,
super restricted by it at the
yeah,
end of it.
that's what Denver is right now. Like Denver's cooked. Denver is basically cooked. Like they weren't even obviously Valanciunas wasn't great for them, but they haven't been able to sign a center yet
No.
because of the Peyton Watson thing right now. I think that's like the holdup right now for them. But yeah, it's damaging, man. If you don't manage it right, and if you don't, if there's not teams that are willing to trade with you, like Jamal Murray's getting paid over 50 mil, if I'm not mistaken, for his
And
new
has yet
deal.
to become an all-star.
A lot of no, he was an all
Oh,
star
sorry, he
this
was
year.
an all-star last year. No,
He was an
not a
all star last year,
multiple-time
but
all-star. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right, and obviously teams look at how he played in the postseason. They're like,
Yes.
I don't know if we're willing to trade for Jamal, basically, right? So
Yes.
you have one bad year. Now all of a sudden, everybody looks at the contract that you got paid over a year ago and be like, "Oh, I think we're good. I don't think we want to touch that contract anymore. I think we're good." Basically, right? So
Yeah.
one year can really change everything, basically, in a sense. And with Denver, they're still trying to figure it out. Like I've heard some rumors they might move Aaron Gordon, maybe not. Who knows? But they're still trying to figure it out. They're still
Yep.
trying to figure it out
And
right now
it's
with their
it's a
team.
difficult
So
thing to
yeah.
figure out with the salary cap, like how to fit all your players and sort of who's worth a lot, and who's
Hmm.
not worth a lot in these discussions.
Hmm.
I also think that the value
Hmm.
of the first round pick has completely changed as well. We saw teams be much
Yes.
more
Yes.
cavalier with their
They
first
need
round
to.
picks a few years ago.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mikal Bridges netted you five first round picks. Rudy
Right.
Gobert netted you five first round picks.
Right.
Like these are huge deals that give up on draft capital for a decade after
Hmm.
making the trade, and you just
Yeah.
simply do not see teams being willing to give it up. Jaylen Brown was a
Yes.
top five candidate in the MVP race all year long. He got you two
Hmm.
first round picks far into the future that are likely not even going to be that good.
Right.
So I think like in
Hmm.
terms of trade deals, it's not even just the players anymore. It's your future assets now mean so much more. You're not going to trade them unless you can get like a really great player in return. And even if you could get a really great player in return, you still might not be willing to give up on a draft pick because that could turn into someone that could then be much more friendly on a better structured deal. I think
Hmm.
another place where it's really affected the league is when players actually go to sign their contract extensions for the
Hmm.
future. Players are now being
Hmm.
expected or asked to take pay cuts more frequently earlier in their career. We saw Jalen Brunson, take 113 million off of his deal. Could have easily
Yeah.
demanded the max and would have been worth it.
Hmm.
Victor Wembanyama, I believe, is leaving 50 million on the table on his latest
Yeah.
contract extension because he's
Yeah.
not going for the super max. He's just going for the regular
Hmm.
max. Yes, these guys are still
Hmm.
getting paid, north of $300 million by the end of it. But
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
fact that it's, helping the team out shows you that the players understand that the CBA is going to hard cap you in big ways, and it's going to restrict the team from building a good contender. It's another thing that's contributing to parity in the league, which I kind of appreciate, but it does make me think like player value has changed. First round pick value has changed
Hmm.
completely. Like it's not as easy to just go all in at the poker table anymore. You have to really
No, not
hold your
anymore.
cards.
No, it's too teams are getting out of that mindset now
Yeah.
because they're starting to realize if it doesn't pay off, then we can't. We just saw with Minnesota where um and they're obviously I think that obviously we both think that even Noah too that they should have stuck with the cat experiment
Yes.
more. That's a risk that I'm willing to take because it's like at least we've been able to see success with that. But when you pivot and you make the wrong move, it can hurt your team financially moving forward.
Yep.
Basically, so being able to not just draft well, but also the contracts that you give out are also going to be always get going into question now moving forward basically. So
Yeah.
is if you don't mind looking up like what are the teams that are like the top salary heavy teams right now. I would like to
Let
know
me
that because
see.
I think the people need to kind of be informed on who's up there right now, who are the teams that are paying the most for their teams right now basically. I know Denver's still up there if I'm not mistaken with waiving Valanciunas. But yeah, if
All
you
right.
can find that
So
and then just let me know.
let's see here. We're on Spotrac right now, looking
Mhm.
at this, and Minnesota has the most expensive cap right now.
Mhm.
They are at $271 million all in.
My gosh, bro. Oh man. See, and Io just got paid. I just realized Io got paid too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So they are, yeah, they're really far over the cap here. Negative $106 million of cap space.
Right.
Then you got Golden State right after that, which I think is
Mhm.
deeply
Yep.
concerning for Golden State.
Makes sense. Yep.
Atlanta, Denver, Cleveland,
Mhm.
Washington, Phoenix,
Trey Young just got paid.
Orlando, Spurs. Yeah,
Mhm.
this is crazy.
But how much are the two spot, three spot, and four spot getting paid compared to Minnesota? Like, is
So
there a
number one is
significant drop off?
271. Golden State is at
Mhm.
264. Atlanta's at 260. Denver's at
Mhm.
253.
253.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money being dedicated. And you listed off some of those teams. I'm like, outside of Minnesota, there's those other teams. The Warriors are still trying to figure out like the LeBron thing, and they still have the Jimmy contract, and Steph is obviously getting paid, rightfully so. But it's a lot. It's a lot of risk, man. It's a lot of risk that you got to take, and if you give out the wrong contract, it could look bad in 1 year, 2 years.
Yeah.
If you don't hit on certain draft picks, then now you gotta go and find someone in free agency, and if the free agency class isn't good, then you gotta overpay for players that, in your opinion, you don't think aren't as good. So
Yep.
yeah, that's the issue now
Also,
with this new CBA.
here's another thing for you too. When you look at how the contracts stack up in terms of the apron,
Mm-hmm.
OKC are furthest into the second apron.
Right, makes sense. Makes sense.
They're
Shade, Shed, and Dub.
$11.8 million into the second apron.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota, in that respect, is sitting pretty with $4 million left of second apron space.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so they're see how they're right around there. They're right around there, basically.
Yeah.
They're right around.
Orlando, by
So
the way, second
yeah.
apron. They're very, very high second apron team. They've only got
Oh
$2
yeah.
million left. And
Bane Suggs, Paulo Franz. Yeah, go
and
ahead.
like that is not the team that I would want to be into that apron. You know what I mean? That
Yes.
is that's rough.
Yes. Yeah, it's tough
So the
because all
second
them
apron,
games.
it's gonna continue to be a topic of conversation. It's changed how the league's trades are going on. I do like that it is
Mm-hmm.
keeping teams a little bit more honest with their players as well. Like
Yeah.
you are
Yeah,
now
for sure.
accountable as an executive to make a good
Mm-hmm.
thing last because it will not last very long based on how the aprons work out. Last thing
Mm-hmm.
we'll touch on
For
really,
sure.
really quickly here. The Bucks are being investigated for apparent salary cap circumvention. A really weird form of it, though, I will say.
Right.
So they just signed Gary Trent Jr. to a 4-year, $64 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, Gary Trent Jr., who
Mm-hmm.
averaged less than 10 points per game last year and came off the bench. So $60 million a year is pretty crazy. Shot
Mm-hmm.
37% from 3-point range. It
Shooter. Mm-hmm.
turns out the reason they're being investigated for salary cap circumvention,
Mm-hmm.
they apparently, allegedly, asked him to
Mm-hmm.
take less money in a previous deal in order to to facilitate then a bigger deal being given to him later on. I'm going to pull up the article about it. And
Mm-hmm.
so the league is saying that that's technically a manipulation of the salary cap at a certain point to sign other players. Just going to look up circumvention. Here we go. It's going to come up on a Reddit post here.
Is it because of the fact that they waived and stretched Dame's contract out, plus Miles Turner getting paid? Because I'm assuming that's a part of it.
And so, yeah, 4 years, $64 million after the year he just had is obvious circumvention, according to Nate Duncan, and should be punished
Mm-hmm.
by the league. This would fall under the provision that there is no possible explanation other than circumvention. He
Right.
signed 2 veteran minimums with Milwaukee the past 2 seasons. Then once
Oh
Milwaukee
yeah.
secured
Oh
his
okay.
bird
Yeah.
rights, then he
Oh,
got 4 years, $64 million.
right. And they had the
Now,
bird rights. Right.
I feel like I might have a hot take on this one. I'm just gonna switch
Okay.
back over here.
Mm-hmm.
This shouldn't count as salary cap circumvention, and here's why.
Mm-hmm.
If I was at my job and for some reason, budgets were running difficult at
Mm-hmm.
corporate, and they
Mm-hmm.
said, you know what, we need everybody to hold off on raises. Nobody can get a raise right now because we're trying to bring
Mm-hmm.
in some really good journalists into the organization, and we got to pay them
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if everyone's a loyal member of the team, we're all like, cool, whatever. We want the company to grow so that we can then indulge in the benefits later on when the company is bigger.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, Milwaukee, yes, as a business, their share price, quote unquote, will have fallen significantly now that Giannis is not there, but they also need to make the minimum amount for salary cap. And if Gary
Mm-hmm.
Trent Jr. was one of the guys to take the sacrifice earlier on, and Milwaukee choose to pay him more now, that's
Right.
an entirely consensual agreement between 2 business parties. Milwaukee there have been teams who have refused to do this. For example, the Philadelphia 76ers refused to pay James Harden the big contract that they allegedly promised him later on as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the thing that these 2 parties want to agree on, I don't think that's circumvention of the salary cap. I certainly think it is a smart use of it. It
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that a large punishment should be deserved here. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
think Gary Trent Jr.'s contract should be waived because if that's the sacrifice that he made and this is the reward he gets, that's what it is. What do you think, MJ? Am I crazy?
Oh, I'm not. I I understand them making this move. It's just because there's just been so much stuff with like the aspiration stuff with the Clippers. I think the league is trying to make sure that this doesn't become a trend, basically. So, which obviously I don't think it's going to be a trend, but they're trying to like nip this in the bud in a sense to make sure that it's not happening more in a sense. Because I think there was something with Philly, not the James Harden thing, but it was like I think a decade ago or so, where David Stern revoked all of their first round picks. They were supposed to sign a player and they couldn't sign him anymore.
Is
I
that
think
Joe
that was around the
Smith or
time,
someone like that?
right?
Josh Smith or
Yeah,
someone
I
like
think
that? Yeah.
something like that. But they were trying to sign a guy, they couldn't. David Stern took away
Joe
their
Smith.
picks, basically.
Joe Smith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's a situation that I think Adam Silver wants to avoid. I don't think Adam Silver ideally wants to take away teams' picks and whatnot. And the Bucks just got those picks from the
Yeah.
Giannis trade too. So they're trying to make sure that they have a form of a future to look forward to. So yeah, it's interesting though. It is very interesting because they did have because he did sign a vet minimum because Gary Trent has been a player
Yep.
that has played for different teams and
And then
whatnot.
immediately jumps
But
to 16 million a year for 4
right,
years.
it is very suspicious.
For
It is
sure.
very suspicious because he wasn't because I can see if he was getting paid like let's say 7 to 8 mil a year, calm, calm. This not even a
Yeah,
discussion.
you could argue that
But
he's an $8 million a year player. A 10
right,
million even would be like outrageous, but understandable.
right. Right. But now it jumped from vet, which is like vet minimum is like what, 3 mil, 4 mil, 5 mil, something
If
like
that,
that.
if that, yeah,
Yeah. And to now 16 mil,
yep,
I definitely think the NBA
and
is like, hey,
fully
hold on.
guaranteed too.
Yeah, exactly. The NBA is like, wait, hold on. And it was fully, I didn't even know it was fully
It's
guaranteed. See, that's
fully
also another
guaranteed.
thing, basically. So now the league's like, hey, hold on. No, 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 no. Check. The league basically said, no, we're not gonna no, check that. Check that. Cause how did he jump from vet minimum to 16 mil just like that,
As a role player
basically.
and not even a very high level role player at that.
Right.
No, I totally get
It's
that.
very suspicious for sure. Very suspicious.
I just don't think that like it's that big of a deal if these two parties have agreed to it. Like if a team
Hmm.
wants to be self destructing for their future, I mean, like, should we punish
Yeah.
the Sacramento Kings for being like painfully mediocre all this time, or is it like, you know what I mean? Like, if a team wants to make a bad decision, you got to let them make a few bad decisions. It's not like they're paying money
Yeah.
under the table. That's a whole
Hmm.
different thing. I think that that's worse.
Yeah.
This is not considered cheating. This is paying your dues, right?
It's just very odd though that he jumped from vet because I didn't even know that. I knew that he has signed for like a lesser deal for the Bucks like a few years ago. I didn't know it was back to back vet minimum. So I thought it was just one
No, it's
vet
back to
minimum.
back. Yeah.
I could see if it was one vet minimum and the jump, I don't think would have been as suspicious. But the fact that it was vet minimum, then 16 mil a year is like, well, hold
Yeah.
on. This isn't right. This isn't right. So yeah.
Crazy things happening in the NBA and will probably continue to happen. More headlines definitely to come. The LeBron free agency decision definitely still
Yes,
up in
of
the air.
course.
I am
Yes,
making a
it
YouTube
is.
video about that, so make sure you are subscribed, guys, to the YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
5
Mm-hmm.
teams on LeBron's list. Planning on going through which team are the best fit for him and which ones give him the best chance of winning, since he said that that's his biggest priority as well. Reaction
Mm-hmm.
videos coming to the channel, so much more coming to the channel. So please hit that subscribe button, hit that like, leave a comment on what you think on our basketball takes here. Follow us wherever you get your podcast. Give us a big 5 stars if you could, please, and thank you. MJ, any other big
Mm.
things you want to say here? FIFA World Cup coming to an end here.
Man,
France, England, Argentina,
it's gonna be
Spain.
semifinal and final. I think are both gonna be very
Yeah.
entertaining games. So, man, the people gotta, man, that's gonna be yeah. This upcoming Sunday, man, it's gonna be. I know a lot of people, people even that are gonna be working are gonna be watching the game. So I know
Yes.
it's gonna be crazy. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, overall though, I will say this tournament has been a really good tournament overall. Like there hasn't been too many games where it's gotten out of hand. It's been very competitive, and a lot of the games have gone to pens. Some of the games have gone to extra time. Some of the games It came down to like the last goal,
The refereeing has
basically.
been
So,
questionable. The refereeing has been very
well, that's
questionable.
always going to be in
The
question,
rigging has
especially
been very
for
obvious.
one team. For one team, yes, I know
For
people know
one
about
team
this
for
one team.
sure. Yep.
Yes, one team, but at the end of the day, you still got to win the games that are in front of you, and yeah. So we'll see, but it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I
It's
can't
gonna be
wait. It's
fun.
gonna be great.
MJ is the gracious host of a FIFA World Cup watch party. So definitely, if you guys want to see the shenanigans that ensue from a bunch of us guys being locked in a room together watching that game, make sure you're following us on the Instagram. We know the stories. Hey, listen, the
Hmm.
stories during the NBA Finals were crazy. It's gonna get even worse during the FIFA World Cup final.
Oh,
I
it's
don't
gonna
know.
be good, man. It's gonna be good.
Definitely,
Hoping for a good final.
definitely follow us on Instagram. But that's gonna do it for us on this episode. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, hoopers and sports fans alike. We will see you on the next episode. Take care. Goodbye.